It's a brand new day. Hey. Wake up every morning and say, it's a brand new day. Hey. Take a good day, make it great, okay? Cause if you got some lemons, make some lemonade. Yeah, taste those clouds away.
Hey.
Welcome
back.
Every time she does, hey.
I'm Callie, and this is
Israel. Thank you very much.
And this is
You know, I'm super digging this intro.
You're right? You like it?
Yeah.
You guys told me to do the intro.
Your name, though. You gotta say your name.
Linnell.
Okay.
And together we are
Family. But
The Three
Never met a
Stooges.
stranger.
never met a stranger. I like it.
Never met a stranger.
I'm never gonna live you down.
You are. In
You know,
80 years.
We
good.
encouraged her to
We
come
did.
out of her shell.
I always
We-
do the
we
outro,
can't.
so
We
I had to
encouraged
figure out.
Callie to speak up more.
Oh, I did the challenge from last week.
You did?
You did.
I
That's
embraced
right.
the change.
Embrace the change.
You did.
I'm loving it.
Hey.
I'm loving it.
Now the next challenge is to just bring it back a little bit.
Go back to your comfort zone. It's all right.
Go back to the outro.
No, I'm
next
happy
week.
to see Happy Callie.
Yes.
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 Might be a
Hey,
little
that
delulu.
reminds me of the babies. Where the babies?
What?
Did we post the babies?
Oh, the
No,
baby reel?
We'll post
The
the
baby
reel.
reel.
No, we did.
You did?
We did.
Okay.
Good response.
Well, we didn't post our baby pictures that we all sent
Yes,
in,
I
but
know.
we did post a
Oh,
little.
I did send my baby pictures, didn't I?
And they were
It did not give me the facts like I asked.
What?
Anywho.
Now I gotta figure out. That's all.
Okay, so we are so happy to have you here, our friends. Why do we call all of you our friends?
Agreed.
Why do we?
Because there are no strangers,
Right.
just friends you haven't met yet.
Only friends we haven't met yet. Now, from an early age, I completely believe that to be true, and so I have been doing that my whole life. It feels natural and normal to me to talk to complete people I don't know yet, as if I've known them my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, but other people are, you know, they look at me in a way, but do I care? I don't.
I don't.
Then I start talking to those people. And, you know, as it opens up the circles and then the more circles, and it's like the little ripples of the pond. And before you know it, you're out of the pond and into the ocean, and we're making big changes in the world. And that's why we're doing the podcast.
Exactly.
There's no such thing as a small change. Just like, what's the old saying? There are no bad ideas. There is no crying in baseball. No, I can't.
So the one that I love personally is that there are no stupid questions. There are just a lot of inquisitive idiots.
Ooh.
That was
We
that
just
was
dropped
tongue-in-cheek.
gems in
That
this
was-
podcast.
that was Israel.
What do you mean to tell you that we're trying to change the world?
Oh,
If
that
you
was-
want to
I
know,
was- don't judge me.
he had the moment test,
Don't judge me.
and he failed.
Listen, do you have any words of wisdom in your back pocket?
I,
you want to say when you're older?
No, I got to keep those to
All
a
right,
minimum. You guys
all
are
right.
gonna get
We
more of
are going to just start this
Okay.
show off right.
All right.
We're going to start with a story.
those. Okay.
Ooh.
Now, when I was in the car accident 2.5 years ago, I lost my ability to write. I was writing a book. My daughter, Callie, said, let's do a podcast and tell the stories. So all of these stories are important. And I say that, and this one is really not about anyone except me, but I'm important. You know, the foggy days in the valley, right?
I did not know.
Well, you're from
originally.
Washington.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, they don't have
I
fog
did
in
not.
Washington?
No, we have fog, but you guys have like.
He
Chili
says
fog.
you guys like he doesn't live here.
You
No,
know,
home
okay.
here.
In all fairness, I've still spent more time in Washington than I have in California. That will change in the next 2-3 years. But the fog out here is something vicious. I did not realize what it
Yeah.
was until I've actually lived out here.
I
So,
really,
yeah.
Like the humidity?
really, the only
Forget
weather
it.
I really dislike is foggy weather. I don't like it because even though I've grown up here and lived here my whole life and had vehicles with fog lights, it's the blanket of it's you know it just
Yeah.
is
the blanket of the unknown in front of you.
Yes.
well, and you know, low visibility and you know all of that. So it always scared me, and I was never a driver that was afraid of anything. But do you remember when we were going to school that one day and the big, huge car pileup
Yeah.
Yeah, we came out of a fog bank into an accident.
Oh, wow.
And Callie was very little, but we were fine. So I wrote a story about a foggy day, and I used to be a guest writer in the Fresno Bee, and they published a story,
Which is
and
a
they
newspaper, by the way.
Fresno Bee, and they published it, and they called it the things you will see on a foggy day." So now, I'm not a bad storyteller. I like to tell stories, but I believe that I'm a better writer than I am a storyteller. So I'm going to read just a little bit of this, and then we can talk about it. You guys want to do that?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay, so I was on
Embrace the
Highway
change.
99.
Comfortable. There we go.
Highway 99, and it was a foggy day, and unfortunately, as so often happens, there was an accident, and so I was stuck in traffic on my way to work. And most of the time, that's frustrating. And have you seen that recent commercial where the guy's like, "Let's go"? His whole day is to the elevator. Let's go in the car. Let's go. And he's just frustrated his whole day because he just let's go. But on this day, I decided I'm stuck. There's nothing else I can do. So I started looking around at the people in the cars next to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So the traffic was at a standstill, but to me it felt quiet and peaceful. Since God had stopped time for me, I took the opportunity to look around at the people in the cars beside me. To my right was a guy with dark hair, graying at the temples. He appeared to be in his 40s, wearing a button-down white dress shirt and tie, on the phone, talking animatedly. You've seen these people in cars.
Mm-hmm.
You just know. I don't know, waving his hands in the air like he was closing some sort of big deal, but he was sweating, and you could tell he was stressed out.
Like an Italian.
So I watched him for a while, and then I glanced to the car on my left. At first, I thought it was just one woman in the car. She had short hair and was wearing a hoodie. She had no makeup on that I could see. She looked like she was in her mid-30s. And as I watched her, I realized she was talking into the rearview mirror. I turned all the way around in my seat, and I saw a toddler behind her. Toddler was buckled up in his little car seat, and my thinking was she was talking to him to keep him entertained while being stuck in traffic. As we all know, there's nothing worse than a screaming toddler, especially when you're in the fog stuck in traffic. All right. Finally, I looked at the couple in the car a little ahead of me. The guy was in his late 20s, had a shaved head, and was wearing sunglasses. He was clearly suffering from a little frustration and road rage. He didn't appreciate being stuck in traffic, and I could tell. I wasn't in the car, clearly, and I wasn't close enough to hear, but I could tell. It's amazing what you can tell, and you're not even hearing anything. He kept looking into his rearview mirror, craning his neck to try to look around the cars, smacking the steering wheel from time to time. He was saying something while he was doing this, and I'm guessing it probably wasn't something I could have written and repeated. Now, the girl next to him, she was my favorite. She was really pretty. Her hair was long and curly. She had a lot of makeup on with a really low-cut sweater. She had her head turned and was staring out the window into the fog. She had a really thoughtful look on her face. Maybe she was remembering something from her past, or wishing she was on a tropical island instead of stuck in the fog. Or maybe she was just wondering why the heck she was with such a jerk. And that's what I wondered. Suddenly, she glanced at me and caught me watching her. It happens to me all the time. And I gave her a little shrug, like I always do. I mean, it's just, I was looking at you. Sorry about it, And I smiled at her and kind of said, I'm sorry I was staring, but I have nothing else to do. Anyway, she nodded slightly. She smiled back slightly. She turned her head back to stare into the fog again. As I looked around at all of these people, it occurred to me that I have been every single one of them in my life at one time or another. I was the guy in my 20s, so impatient to get where I wanted to go. I was the mom in my 30s, talking calmly to the babies and singing to them in the rearview mirror. I was the driven business person in my 40s trying to close the big deals. Today, I am the woman looking out the window. I'm happy I can use a little break in the hustle and bustle of life to look around and actually see what is around me. I'm happy I'm that person that can slow down enough to watch people and maybe learn a little something in the process. Sometimes we get so caught up in our lives that we can't see outside the car. Sometimes we think that everything important in life is inside the car. That's not true. There's so much more just outside the car, just outside our comfort zone, just outside our space. I once read a saying, everything you want in life is just beyond fear. I believe that. I believe that we have to look at things differently in life and break through the fear barrier and experience the fullness of life. Seeing things this way makes our problems seem smaller somehow, gives us a perspective we need in life. I figured God must have put these people beside me in the fog for a reason, so I said a little prayer that he would bless them. A small thing, but there are no small things, right? The only thing I could do for those people at that time I would never see again in my life was just to say, God, please bless them. It was my way of doing a random act of kindness for random people stuck beside each other on the 99 on a foggy day in January. My hope for you, look outside the car today. Realize that your problems are not as big as you think they are. See that the world is beautiful and that not everything important and worth seeing is inside the car.
So my question for you then is, because obviously you wrote that some time ago, right?
Yeah.
So coming full circle now, as you have, continued to go through, your life changes and everything that you've experienced over the past, couple years, does that story hit differently now than it did when you originally wrote it?
Ooh.
That's a good question. I don't remember writing it. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't even write that. I just stole it. No. The only difference, Israel, and I'm just now realizing this, is that there's now needs to be another person there's another part of my life in between 40 driven business person and who I am today. Mm-hmm. There was that there's another person, right? Mm-hmm. If a person who had what did you say last time? We have 2 lives?
Yes.
And you only really start living when you realize that.
Yeah. You have 2 lives, and your second one isn't going to get in 2 lives. You only have 1.
Right.
I think that's what I said last time.
So the person in between, the driven, workaholic person that I was, I've always worked. Me and my family, my brothers, we worked forever. Mm-hmm. We sold watermelons out of a Red Ryder wagon when we were 3 and 4 years old.
Yeah.
Times were safer then. Anyway, but between that driven workaholic person and who I am today, was that person that said, wow, I am in my 50s and I have completely missed what life was about. Mm. I thought I knew.
Mm. Yeah.
I thought I was very confident in the fact that I was living my life, taking care of my kids, providing for the future, and being in the process a pretty good person,
You're going through the motions, kind of.
I wouldn't be able to go there, right? Because going through the motions implies that you're mailing it in. I don't think that you're mailing it. I think that it's just one of those things where
it wasn't going through the motions, but it wasn't going through the motions, but it was a really safe. It was a really safe way of viewing the world I created.
Yeah,
it wasn't necessarily the real world.
So what I would argue, and not even argue, is I think that what happens is, and that's why this epiphany kind of happens, as we mature, right? It's that once you eliminate the stressors of your life, right? Once you realize that the bills are paid and you're stable in your career, you're where you are, right? At that point, once you remove that stress from the day-to-day kind of things, you're able to look up and say, like, oh, wow, like, I've been so nose to the grindstone for the past 20, 15, 30, whatever, however long you've been doing it, until once you get to the point where it's like, okay, I've accomplished what I think I need to, you look up and you're like, when did I get here? How much have I missed? Right? That's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you work hard enough, you get to the point where you can actually take the time to you start looking for what else is out there.
And are you happy?
Ideally, the term age is supposed to go hand in hand with wisdom.
Ideally.
Ideally.
But you know, when I read the story, and I haven't read the story that I wrote in a long time, but it's a good story. You know what I mean? It was a good story when I wrote it. Touched a lot of people. I think the really wonderful thing of writing for me was getting emails and feedback. Thousands of people that said that my little story touched them. That was my way of changing the world. You know, so I don't want to like get all teary-eyed here, but so what do you have to do when you're trying to get a couch up the stairs and it just won't fit?
Pivot.
So when I lost my ability to hold a pen or use a mouse or write, what did I have to do?
We're here.
Pivot.
We're talking.
Pivot. Podcast. So I just looked at it this way. Why are we so impatient in our 20s? Why do we want everything to happen now? Why do we have that, you know? And then, you know, of course, being a mom, that's in itself, you know, being a parent, you both are parents.
Yeah.
You know, your life is consumed with your children, and as it should be. My children, I was raised this way. I felt like my most important job ever in my life was raising kids right. And I took it seriously. Right? And then the driven, successful workaholic person, that was just that segment of my life. I've been a hard worker my whole life, but that one was when my kids got older and I was allowed to do nothing but work, so that's what I did. The person past that wasn't a result only of the workaholic or the mother or the 20-something. It was a culmination of all of them. It was when I hit my 50s and realized everything that is important isn't in the car. You know, there's a big world out there full of interesting people, and they all have a story. And I can be a better person, and I can, you know, I can talk to people I don't know.
Yeah.
And people want to be heard. They just want to be
seen.
They want to be seen. They want to be important.
Yeah.
I can do that. That's not hard.
Yeah.
Right? And I, of all of those people, I mean, I guess now I'm in my 60s, so I'll have to get another minivan or something, you know, put it on the road. But the, I don't know. I thought the most interesting person in the story, and I didn't even address that, was the girl looking out the window. And then later on, when I thought of the story, I thought of that as future me.
Okay.
Oh.
Not the physical appearance.
Yeah.
The longing.
Mm-hmm.
The longing for what's next. What else is out there?
Yeah. How do you be content though?
Yeah.
You know?
And be happy.
I mean, as we talked about, right? Change is inevitable.
It is.
Change in your life and the structure of you, Callie, and Israel. You know, you guys at 20. I mean, you tell me if the people were sitting in the cars, what would they look like, right? It doesn't have to be elaborate. I mean, we both know that you're the parent in the car, present.
Yeah.
Who were in the other cars, future or past?
You know, I don't.
Well, you talked about it earlier, Israel, about when you got out of college and when you went back to Washington.
Yeah, that was, you know, I think, wow, it feels so long ago. Just in terms of, you know, figuring out life and just trying to be that young 20-something, trying to realize that the time is now kind of situation. I
Right.
think we talked about that, right?
Right.
So,
Or what's your purpose?
Yeah.
There's so many people that don't know how to find their purpose.
that's true. You said something earlier where it was like, oh my God, you wish that age equated to wisdom.
Oh,
And one thing I remember, again, someone said long ago was that youth is wasted on the young and wisdom is wasted on the old. Right? Because after you've lived your life and you've gained that wisdom, you're at the point where in most cases you're not able to take advantage of the wisdom to truly maximize its impact, right?
What's the old saying? If I only
makes
knew
sense.
then what I know now.
Exactly.
I would
exactly.
change
right.
But wait a second, though, really? Because that changes the whole trajectory.
It does.
Yeah.
You know, you can't know what you know now unless you've made mistakes.
And
That's
been
why
through
I
it.
always say I am not sorry for any mistake I made in life. I'm sorry for the people it hurt as a result. But I had to make them in order to become me.
Yeah.
The only mistakes that I regret are the ones I never learned from. That's it.
Well, if you
Or
have
never
those,
made
you
because
you
you
Yeah.
were
if
scared.
you have
or-
those, you better get into the car again
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
learn.
Look
those.
around.
So yeah, on that note, like, okay, so remember, I think we were talking about changes and all the mistakes we've made. And last week we had our challenge, right? Which was
Yeah.
to embrace change,
Yes.
right? And to just kind of go over that. Did you guys have any epiphanies, I guess, about
I
that?
like the word
I know
epiphany.
you do.
Dang, man.
You know, there's
cannot
just-
play words with friends with these guys. You'll never win.
Epiphany. You know what
Remember
epiphany
that
is.
game? Do you still play that game?
Rarely.
Epiphany for me is symbiotic with just it's your moment of clarity. It is the epiphany that started me on the journey of the book of the Never Met a Stranger. That was an epiphany that I was the star. Everyone is the star of their own movie. That was an epiphany to me. I never thought about it before. You know,
So self-driven.
well, and self-absorbed and all of those
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
but everybody feels that way. I mean, even
even know it.
the homeless guy that I talked to, I was coming out of the Dollar Tree and it was kind of late at night, and he comes running up to me, and normally I would be a little bit startled, but I thought, I mean, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, but I just he said, hey, and I said, hey to you,
Yeah.
but he was asking for some change, and I gladly gave it. But my point is, even he is a star of his own movie, right? The world revolves around him, his world,
Yeah.
and it revolves around me and my world, and both of you, and Javier, and dust in the wind.
Eating a donut.
I was saying it a little different. Dust in the wind. Anyway, so the epiphany was, oh my gosh, I'm missing so much
Of life,
Why
no?
couldn't I have had this epiphany when I was the mom sitting in the car?
I get it.
Or even the 20-something. Why did I have to wait so long until I had the moment and realized that,
Do you think people stop and have that moment because they choose to, or because it comes to them, like when it's supposed to happen? Because you could be 30 and someone could be 40, somebody could be 20. You know what I mean?
It's a good question, Israel.
Israel.
I know. I'm saying I'm tossing it to you
Oh,
because
okay.
she was looking at me.
I looked at both of you.
Do you
so-
see
Oh,
that?
God, I see what you did there. No, I think that it happens when you find yourself at rest. If I had to say anything, right? When you actually just kind of like you have a moment to take that deep breath and you just kind of
when
look
you're
up.
sitting in the car.
When you have nowhere to go, or when you're stuck,
When you're forced.
or
to
honestly, when you're
slow
forced,
down.
when your life forces the circumstance on you, where it's like, okay, I can't do anything else. I'm going to sit here, and you start pondering, you start looking back, you start looking around. Your focus is forced outward because you are at a stationary point in life.
Right.
That makes sense.
I think that's kind of how it happens.
Yep.
And I'm just going to add to this that I believe that God gives us the epiphany when we are equipped to do something with it. So
Agreed.
I didn't have the epiphany until I was mature enough to embrace that change, that awareness, and be able to change my
something with
life, as a result of the epiphany.
Yeah.
If I'd had it in my 20s, that wouldn't have worked out. You know what I'm saying? I was too
Yeah.
20.
Yeah.
You know,
Yours?
and
My epiphany?
Yeah.
Oh God, I've had too many epiphanies over the course of my life.
Okay.
I think when it comes to change, I think the only thing I've realized about change is that change is only scary until you embrace it.
Yeah.
I
That's
don't
it.
believe you've had so many epiphanies
That's
in your
it.
life.
That's it. Change
I
is-
believe that I believe you've had moments of awareness, but I don't think you've had monumental epiphanies, many of them. You know, you know who you are, and you're very solid in that. And, I can't imagine that you've had
I don't know if that's a good thing or a
30
bad thing.
epiphanies.
Truth.
You know,
Oh, God.
no, it is a good thing. I just said I wish that I would have been mature enough. I wish I would have been ready. Now, my advice to people all the time when it comes to finding their soulmate or the right person is the reason you haven't is because you're not ready. You're
Right.
not
Yes.
the person that you
Exactly.
need to be
Yes.
Or maybe
when
they
that
aren't
person
either.
comes into your life.
Well, I'd
Right.
even say that you attract what you are, right? That's just how it works. If
True.
you're wanting something,
Yeah, I'm a bum magnet. No, I'm just kidding.
well, stop. Again,
Aren't
you
we
attract
all?
you attract what you are. So if you want to, you guys are laughing. That's
Man.
that's vicious. Come
That's
on
my
now.
dating app stories. I'll
Like,
tell
I'm
you.
like a big magnet, and then
Oh,
bum, 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 bum,
God.
bum, bum.
you guys are.
Don't even buy you dinner. They don't even have
Hence
a car
why
to sit
you
in.
are the only one married at this
You
point.
know, hey, I'll take it. Thanks, babe.
Listen.
Love you.
Right? And she a beautiful,
We just had an epiphany.
Yeah, that we
Look.
both approve of. Super
Look,
rare.
I won the game, people.
Listen.
I did.
You know what? Did you, though?
I,
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I did.
hang on. That's
I
my best
did.
friend. Hold
No,
on.
listen.
Hold on.
Did.
And that's
Listen,
my other
listen.
best friend. Hold on.
People, I love Rebecca. People ask me all the time, why don't you date? Why aren't you out there? Are you
Yeah.
going to get married again? First of all, I want to know why.
Why does it matter?
Really, what is so?
People
what
ask
is
me that all the
going
time,
on
too.
with you that is of interest to you?
Yeah. They
You know,
ask me all the time.
You know what I mean? Now, listen, my father died when I was 18, and my mother never dated, never even considered it. And people would say, why don't you date, Nyla?
Yeah.
And she would say, because I was already married. I already had a husband. To her, marriage
Was a
in
one-time deal.
life or death,
Yeah.
one-time deal.
Dang.
That was her husband,
Committed.
right? And I admired and respected that, right? She
Yeah.
felt no sense of loss
Man.
at all,
Mhm.
and not replacing, and it's not wrong to do that or
Right.
remarry. It's not. It's what's right for you.
Yeah, and your
Right?
values and your morals and
You
what
know,
you believe.
Yeah.
And as for me, see, that's the other thing that God gives you
Yeah.
gracefully, right? To be able to say at this point in my life, hell no, I don't want to have a man I have to answer to and share my money with and tell him where I'm going to.
You mean I can't be a starfish on the bed?
Oh,
I have to
God.
sleep
I
on
mean,
one side?
Are you kidding? Was that not graceful?
I'll embrace the change here.
I already been there, done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's comedy.
Um,
That's comedy.
I am happy. I'm happy.
Date night with
I was.
yourself.
I mean, before the accident and when I was independent, and,
Yeah.
and I loved I was
Your
living my
independence.
best
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Right. Not to say that my life isn't good now. It's just different.
It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be.
So the reason I wanted to tell that story, though, the foggy day story, and I haven't thought about it in a long time,
Mm-hmm.
is because it's important. It's important that you understand that life is fleeting. You got to get out of the car. At some point in your life, you've got to put the video games down, get out of the house. You've got to I don't know whatever that reference, because but you have to, and the same goes for me. I have to stop being a recluse. I have to get out there, right? Because if you don't,
Life will pass
it
you by.
doesn't wait for you.
Right.
Time does not wait for
anybody.
you, right?
Yep.
You got to be fearless, but not reckless.
And it'll make you
Right?
change.
Now, that being said, let's talk about how that applies to being I guess, the challenge of being a better person, a better communicator, a friendlier version of you,
Might have to be the
kinder,
challenge for
random
next
acts
week.
of kindness. Let's just talk about how you can change the world. I've done my part. I did the story. You guys go.
Well, I did last week, so I'm going to put it on Callie's plate.
Oh my gosh. Callie did the opening. Hi.
Stop.
You had to be there.
All right.
What?
All right. What was
I was there.
Okay, what was the challenge? from
Again,
last
last week's challenge was to embrace
Embrace
change. Right?
change.
Embrace
Okay.
change, right? So
Okay.
that's what we were doing. And then,
Right.
Right. So that is a big thing. I mean, as we know, and not easy,
Mm-hmm.
right? People think. I think it's super easy to embrace change.
Mhm.
It's the old saying, going with the flow. You know, it meant a lot of things to a lot of people. You know, especially people named Flo.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is
Ask you a time of the
that
month.
it is having a malleable opinion and attitude. Fluid. You know, you cannot be the same static person when you start your life as when you finish it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, it has to be malleable. It has to change and grow in between birth to death.
Mm-hmm.
Don't
right?
just go through the motions. Do something with your life.
You.
I mean, yeah, that's like you
In
know,
a
kind
nutshell?
of par for the course, right?
Right.
There's no way you could be the same person throughout, right? If
There-
you're doing that, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
telling you this right,
Right.
now. If you are the same person you are now as you were 15 years ago, something.
well, let's just face it, though. You might start wearing diapers, and you might end wearing diapers, and so it could
you
be
know,
possible.
theoretically, yes, but you know, life is not.
What I'm saying to you both
Okay.
is this: is that embracing change and seeing it as an opportunity is life-changing. Life-changing. If you talk to 5 people you don't know tomorrow, it'll change your life. If you're open to that and you do it, if you
Might change theirs too.
if you compliment 5 people and you do something kind 5 times tomorrow, it will change your life. Why don't people do that? Because change is scary to a lot of people. That's not who they are. They're
And they're comfortable.
introverts. They're uncomfortable. It feels awkward. What
Yeah.
are they going to say? It's the fear
Why
of
would I need to
rejection.
do that?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
what if people make fun of you? You know, what if they don't respond to you? Blah, 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 blah. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
So, is that our challenge? Getting out of the car?
Yeah.
5 things.
It doesn't have to be 5.
I don't think. Yeah. I think
My
it could just,
personal challenge to me was 5.
Okay.
Why?
Okay.
Because I have to be different. Everybody does things in even numbers, and so I said, do 5 things. Everybody else is doing 4. Overachiever, do 5.
What if I chose to do 3?
So
It's
do
odd
1.
number.
Do 1.
Yeah.
Do
Have an
take
attainable
one.
goal. You know, maybe one.
Take
2 is
one
too much.
opportunity to get out of the car. And when I say get out of the car, it's not literally getting out of the car. You guys know that,
Metaphorically.
right? It is based on the story of the belief that everything important is in your little
world,
circle,
your bubble,
in your world,
your
right?
home,
Right?
your comfortability.
Now, I tell young people, oh my God, I sound old. I tell those
Tell
young
them in them.
those young whippersnappers.
I'm telling you.
I tell them, why would you get serious? Why would you seriously date in high school? Why would you do that? Because if you visualize
I knew
this,
then when I know now.
if you visualize your life as this, you are standing in the vestibule
Mhm.
with your hand on the door, and you decide to marry the only girl that's standing beside you in the vestibule. Instead of, now, I don't even know if anybody says vestibule,
They don't.
entryway
They
of
don't.
your home.
Okay.
I don't even know why I said it. I don't think I've ever used that before. Although, if you think about it, it's kind of a good word, and I used the letter T.
We are embracing the change.
So if you're in the entryway to your home with your hand on the door to the world, why would you date and marry the girl sitting in the chair? All right?
You're crazy.
You now listen. I'm not saying don't
But there
date her.
are people.
She might be your forever girl. But what I'm trying to say to you is, open the door. Open the door. And if she's still your forever girl, she always will be. Then she really is your soulmate. Then it's not a forced situation. Okay? So all I'm saying is, open the door. See the world. Be kind to people. Realize that people are all the same. We all bleed. We all have hearts and brains and lives and stories to tell. Be kind instead of mean.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Change the way you think about things.
Well, yeah, it's just, and again, it speaks to the greater purpose of our show, right? Which
Right.
is just going to broadening our horizons, right? Looking at the world differently, looking at ourselves differently, pushing ourselves to be more or just different than what we've been previously, and then, embracing the world and its challenges.
Now listen, all of
Change it
our
one
podcast
show at a
shows
time.
leading up to this has been buildings where we've been building this,
Mm.
right? You've gotten to know us. You felt like you could trust us, and we're friends. And then along the way, we give you little challenges to help you grow with us, because we all need to grow too.
We're a family.
You know, and then there's weird talk about life insurance and being the master of your own destiny.
Yep, and U-turns.
And
lack
U-turns
thereof.
and purple balloons, and there's all of these things, but all of them
Detour.
combined lead us to this, and that is decide to change the world. Volunteer at a homeless shelter. Serve dinner at Thanksgiving to homeless people. You know what I mean? Donate money to a pet shelter. Do something that is altruistic, something that will make you feel good. It's for absolutely no reason, and maybe it's just between you and God and the animal shelter, but do something. Right?
I like it.
I like it.
Right?
Well,
Okay.
With that being said,
I like it. We're going to put a wrap on it, people.
I think you should.
Again. So, challenge is just going to be look outside the car.
Get out of the car.
Get out of the- Don't run into fog, though, people. I know it's the valley, and I know it's fog out there sometimes. Don't do that. We're asking you, metaphorically speaking.
metaphor.
But
It's summertime,
yeah,
Israel. Do you
but
really
you know
have
what?
to
You
give
know what?
the warning?
people are crazy. I'm just saying. People are crazy.
In California. Love you, though.
You don't know. They can listen to somewhere else. Okay. But,
Truth.
anywho.
If they ever come and visit, they're going to know.
Right.
Okay, my little challenge to both of you. I want you to think about the question. I know you both sidestepped the car question. I want you both to do a little homework and think about one more car that's been in your life. What did that person look like?
Oh, I could
Who
probably.
was driving?
I could probably think about that.
Don't say it now when you know we're out of time.
Okay,
Don't
fine.
be all like that.
All right. Well, then, again, it's wonderful. Love you all. We'll see you next time.
Don't be a stranger.
Don't be a stranger.
See,
I'm
we
saying
can't
we
switch
can't
this
switch
up.
roles.
He
Don't
has
be a
to be the
stranger.
intro. I gotta be the outro.
Let me do the eye roll.
It's a brand new day. Hey.